Hi, my name is David Siegel. I've made 2 previous videos on the personal data locker and the metaverse. This is the 3rd in that series. I don't read my slides. You're going to hear different things than you read. So please lean forward, pay attention. There's a lot to cover in 20 minutes, so pause the video if you need to. I believe the metaverse will change our digital lives and have a huge impact on society. I also think it could go one of 2 different ways. So I'll start with a story to illustrate. You may have heard of Forward, a primary care practice that gives you quick access to doctors, a sophisticated app, and personalized service. They currently charge $150 a month for easy access to a team of generalists. Now I want you to imagine it's 2024 and a few things have changed. First, Forward is now free. You have a personal physician for free and your kids do too. Second, they do most of their visits via the app and use a sophisticated AI health engine to do most of the routine tasks. And third, now look for the difference carefully, they've been bought by Pfizer. Your app is connected to their pharmacy and your drugs are custom tailored to your genome, which the company stores for free also. It's easy to get any drug you want as long as it's made by Pfizer. Do you want that deal? Do you want to trade your personal physician for Pfizer gathering and managing all your health data for free? Because if you do, that's the world we're heading for, and it has everything to do with the metaverse. I want to spend the next 20 minutes showing you how critical the next 2 years of the metaverse are and why we need to change course right now. The metaverse is the first major tech revolution being led by giant companies from the top, making it difficult for small companies to do anything but get bought by one of the larger players. Most of these companies make money monetizing your data, including your online behavior. Did you know that Google pays Apple $1 billion each month to not build their own search engine? Did you know that mobile advertising is on track for over $300 billion this year? That's the little ads on the phones in our pockets. The phones that know everywhere we go, everyone we talk to, what's on our calendars, and all the data locked up in our apps. Our apps are vendor driven. All our vendors hold all our data. I'm going to repeat that. All our vendors hold all our data. Have a look at this receipt. Susie Liu is a designer who redesigned the grocery store receipt in 2021 so we could understand how we spend our money. Now this would have been a good idea in 1990. Now it's irrelevant. The receipt is an artifact. The data is digital. That data is bought and sold by dozens of companies within hours of our purchase. Why can't we see everything we've ever bought from any vendor in our own personal data lockers? Why doesn't it automatically go there every time we make a purchase? Why can't we see every mile we've ever driven, every hotel we've ever stayed at, everything we've ever ordered at every restaurant we've ever eaten at? Why can't we search our own data? If you're not nodding your head right now, you're watching the wrong video. There's probably a Mark Zuckerberg video you'd be more interested in. Did you know that in Estonia, it takes the average person 15 minutes to file her taxes on her phone by herself? Why don't we all do that? Because the data infrastructure is built for vendors, not for consumers. We need to think more about the future we want, because the way things are going, our vendors will provide all our technology and everything will be free. Just like Thanos, the only thing it will cost us is everything. In 2010, I wrote a book about the shift from vendor push to consumer pull, and that choice is now upon us. As you watch these next examples, keep in mind what the metaverse really is. It's the real-time, location-aware web. So most people think the metaverse is a 3D experience with goggles and avatars. And if you want to see the future today, yes, you should get a pair of VR goggles. And the obvious thing to do is get the Oculus Quest 2, which now has over 80% market share, probably after this December, 90% market share. The fourth quarter was huge for them. They've now sold more than 10 million headsets worldwide. They can afford to sell headsets below cost. Oculus is much more than a headset. It's now the dominant platform. I want you to have a feel for it before I go deeper into the implications. There are new titles coming almost every day now. Most of them are multiplayer, so you meet people from all over the world. Here's Horizon Workrooms, Meta's virtual meeting environment where no one has legs, and there are origami deer wearing VR headsets mounted on the walls. The first thing you do is customize your own avatar. They give a lot of choices for skin tones, eyebrows, lips, head shape, facial features, and then you choose your outfit. And this is about the best one I could come up with. I think Mark Zuckerberg personally designed these choices. Most of them I would never be caught dead in, but it won't be long before your avatar might look more like you than you do, or like you want to look, or how you feel at any particular moment. You can explore the International Space Station and learn to work the robotic arm. You can play ping pong with anybody in the world, fly an airplane, stand on top of Mont Blanc, explore the human body like no one ever has before, explore a coral reef, or join a space combat game and get punched in the face by 8-year-olds. Try it, it's fun. I've done it several times. In the last 6 months, things have changed. Meta now dominates the metaverse platform. This year, they'll build a moat around it. If you're going to build something for the metaverse today, the default is now Oculus. Now they're adding patents, content, games, and making acquisitions. This year, Meta will turn on business development, helping mainstream brands bring their customers onto the platform. Staking a claim to your piece in the Oculus Horizon real estate is going to be like getting a website was back in 1995. This will effectively eliminate the competition, including the open metaverse Mark Zuckerberg talks about. He wants to be the new gatekeeper, and very little can stop him. If Meta doesn't want you on their platform, you'll be out of the metaverse. The acquisition wave is now in full swing, with Microsoft recently purchasing Activision Blizzard, adding their titles. Much of what they own will translate to the metaverse, but which metaverse? Over the next 2 years, these giant companies will compete to own the metaverse, acquiring dozens of smaller companies, some public, some private, creating a few giant platforms similar to Xbox and PlayStation or Apple and Android. Each of them will collect rent and decide who is on or off the platform and what the rules are. Let's look at cars for a sec. Cars are becoming platforms, but they're walled gardens, not open ecosystems. If you have 2 cars, or if you take a taxi or an Uber, or if you rent a car, you'd like to see and search your entire driving history. Oh, but you can't do that. You'd like the AI that drives you to have full knowledge of all your previous trips and everything it needs to know, but no, you can't do that. You get apps and AI from each vendor, and you can't even access most of it because it's not your data. A company called Autonomo is now essentially a broker for driving data. They hide your identity, but they sell your data. If you own your own driving data, you do not want to sell it. You might give it to researchers for an academic study, but you don't want to sell your personal data to middlemen. Right now, we're choosing between a vendor-driven future and a human-driven future. Think of where the artificial intelligence is right now. Siri, Alexa, Google, they're baked into our products. Where's our data? We don't have our own data. Our vendors have our data. We don't have the power to choose. We don't see a competitive landscape. We see platforms. We have to choose a platform and they'll give us everything we want except choice. If this had happened in 1995, we would all have AOL email addresses right now. Mark Zuckerberg talks about having your metaverse home space where you'll have your game gear, your assets, your costumes and armor. You'll hang pictures, maybe you'll hang NFTs on the walls. You can invite friends over and you can even have a workspace. Reminds me of 1985. Maybe you could go to the stereo and put on some Supertramp or James Taylor while you set up the board games. In reality, your home space will be what I call your personal data locker. It's where you'll have all your data and assets. Your identity, birth certificate, passport, social connections, licenses, financial assets, your work history, including every test you've ever taken, every license, job review, your living resume, criminal history, medical chart, dental records, prescriptions, contracts. Every item of value will have a digital birth certificate, so when you buy, sell, or transfer anything, the digital descriptor goes as well. This would include your car and its entire maintenance history. It includes your house and everything you've ever added to or changed to it. This is the personal data locker, the foundation for the open metaverse. I described this in my 2010 book, and I'm glad Mark Zuckerberg hasn't read it. I hope we get a chance to build it before he does. This is what avatars will soon look like. They can move, talk, gesture, and react. In Zuckerberg's vision, you'll sit down with your lawyer to talk about your legal situation. You'll both have realistic-looking avatars, and you'll both be wearing suits and ties, while in reality, you'll both be home in your pajamas and sweatpants. At the end of the meeting, though, you'll get a bill for $500 an hour. In my world, you have all your own data, and you hire your own AI assistants to help you manage your life. One of those AI assistants will be your lawyer. You won't pay a human $500 an hour. You'll pay $100 a month for an AI legal assistant that's aware of all your assets, liabilities, rights, and obligations. And it'll keep an eye on everything for you 24/7. It's software. It doesn't really matter how personified it is. Your legal AI will keep you out of trouble in the first place. You don't need a lawyer. And if you need something specific, it has access to a huge open ecosystem of legal resources, including humans, to help you manage your affairs. This is what I call the marketplace for personal digital assistants. I go through that in more detail in other videos. It's not part of any vendor's platform. If you find a better legal assistant, fire yours and bring in a new one anytime. All your AI assistants will work with all your personal data, eliminating boring, repetitive work. It'll advise you, find opportunities, and much more. In my world, you hire the AI app that can drive any car. If you like Tesla's AI, you should be able to use that in your Mercedes as well. And your driving data stays in your data locker under your control. Vendor lock-in is a thing of the past. Another thing of the past will be apps. If you think about it, what's important is our stocks and flows of data and our AI helpers. Apps are traps. We don't need them any more than we need banks. We need an open ecosystem where we are in control and we pay for the services that bring value to us. I've gone into this in detail in other videos, but we're already starting to create digital twins of everything, from cities to factories to supply chains to homes to airplanes. This virtual twin of Earth will be far larger than the game environments people are talking about. We're going to need companies that can help create digital twins of everything, including their interior spaces, systems, and connections. It's a one-to-one digital map of the world at a 10-centimeter resolution, in some cases even finer. You can put your project out to bid and see various proposals for your new building. When you choose one, that digital proposal turns into the live data hub for the project as it gets built, and then the operating system for the building itself once it's running. In the open metaverse, we'll teleport in space and time the way we click on web links today. Imagine going back in time looking at a single address, or building, or event, as it happened years, decades ago, and doing it in the open web, not on a platform. Augmented reality will be very helpful for people doing tasks, especially in large or complex spaces, but more and more, those tasks will just be automated. Until our cars drive themselves, we'll get a little help from the data and our displays, but what really matters is the data itself, the infrastructure, and our ability to access it. As I've explained before, this kind of thing you see here is not the future. It's important to have the data, but for any particular person, the vast majority of that data is just noise. This is why we need our own AI virtual assistants who can see all the data, but just show us what's relevant to us and keep the rest hidden. All you really need for this is a pair of earbuds. If you need a bathroom, your personal assistant should tell you where the nearest one is. And if you don't need it, then you won't know it's there. While Microsoft and Meta are working on goggles, Apple and Google are both working on glasses, although Apple also has a goggles project. I think handsets will gradually be replaced by wearables as we build out the data and the AI infrastructure we need. If you think of Iron Man, Tony Stark talking with his assistant Jarvis, or the movie Her, you can see a lot of possibilities for voice and audio, but we need the data to make it work. What if anyone could leave location-based messages anywhere, even attached to a person? Well, it might be fun for playing games, but there could be real issues. We have to realize that if it can be done, it will be done, and 99% of all data is noise. We'll need good filters and spam bots to help us see only what's relevant to us and understand the context. We'll have our own personal security agent working for us 24/7 to help keep us safe. There's a lot of excitement about NFTs today, so I thought I'd actually show a real use case for them. A seat on an airplane flight is a unique thing. Every seat on every flight should be an NFT. That would be your ticket. It can come with all the restrictions and perks. It can respond to your status with the airline, and you should be able to resell it to someone else who qualifies. In fact, you shouldn't have to give your identification to anybody to buy or use this token. Instead, the token should only give that information to authorities if asked under the right circumstances. Otherwise, you should be anonymous. We could also use NFTs for train seats, bus seats, and other scheduled resources like operating rooms. There are other legitimate uses for tokens for sure, especially for digital birth certificates of products, but the whole Web3 meme isn't really that critical to the metaverse. Standards are very important. Without standards, we wouldn't have email and the open web we enjoy today. With standards, we have an open platform that puts humans ahead of vendors. The Open Metaverse Interoperability Group needs more participation and support. Please join them. Most of the consulting firms are getting into this because most of their clients are wondering, what is this metaverse thing and what should we do about it? Reminds me of 1995 all over again. Right now, we're choosing between a vendor-driven future and a human-driven future. The metaverse will determine which side wins. The wheels are already in motion. The 20 largest companies in the world will have all the cash they need to dominate this new medium. Any successful startup will just be bought and assimilated. To fully embrace the vendor-driven future, to realize Pfizer's dream of owning your data and having you locked into their platform, to boost the price of Meta stock, all you have to do is nothing. Just relax and watch it happen, because that is now the default setting. It's not about goggles. It's about stocks and flows of real-time, highly granular, location-aware data. It's about who owns it, who has access to it, and how we pay for it. And we have to decide now. What can we do? I have 7 suggestions. I said this about browsers and websites in 1995. I'm saying it again. Try it. Buy the Oculus Quest 2 headset. Build your avatar. Explore the space station. Travel around the world. Go scuba diving. Meet people. Jump out of airplanes. Play games. Explore. Get punched in the face by 8-year-olds. It's not so bad. There are other platforms and headsets too, of course, so get a sense, if you can, of where we are now. We will need lobbyists, communicators, architects, designers, writers. Whatever you can do, find the open metaverse and help give it a boost. Get a group together, discuss this, write something, brainstorm, influence, support companies doing the right thing, create new market-based solutions. For example, venture capitalists should think how they can fund and build new companies, but not sell them to giant tech acquirers. We need several new holding companies that can support the open metaverse so successful startups can have a financial exit without the increasing hegemony of huge tech companies. We want them to participate for sure, but we want a level playing field for all. Help me get funding for the Giordano Bruno Institute, a nonprofit dedicated to building your personal data locker, the foundation of the open metaverse. It has to be open and not owned by any shareholders. We still have time, but we need people, money, and resources. We need a few dozen companies to come together to promote the necessary standards and governance of the metaverse. We need a manifesto and some open source code. There are a few groups working on this, and I'll add some links to the description below, but we need to come together and build a roadmap to the open metaverse and be strong about it. We need to educate journalists. We need to help regulators understand what's coming. We need podcasts, interviews, conversations. I have a Slack group dedicated to the open metaverse. It's for entrepreneurs, investors, journalists, anyone who wants to participate. Click the link in the description and join us. The choice is ours. Not to decide is to decide. If you think this is important, please share this video, contact me, take action. It's not too late, but the time is right now, before Mark Zuckerberg sees this. If we can work together, I think we can have a chance of creating a better world for everyone. Thank you.